Hi, Michael, Alessandro, and Leslie. Tania here with PopCulture.com, and I'm so happy to talk to you three today. Congratulations on the movie. Michael, let's start with you. You give a stellar performance as a young Tony Soprano, but this is a brand new version of the character. So, were there any challenges of reinventing this role, but still maintaining that Tony Soprano essence?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd say the biggest challenge was I was a little older than I was playing, and after kind of diving into the series, I really understood the Tony in the show and how he thought. So there were times in the movie where I'd want to attack or maybe be sarcastic or kind of push something off in a very Tony way. And Alan, really helped me sort of be like, he's not there yet. He's not that confident. He's not that angry. He's not that cynical yet, and sort of tone it back so that he could sort of come into that and get hardened over the arc of the movie. So that was something that was, very challenging. And Alan really helped me sort of navigate.
Yeah, and I think you did a great job in that. Like, you're so loyal to the craft. And, Alessandra, you're also so brilliant in this too. So we don't know a lot about Dickie. And so you had to really bring this character to life. So, with all the nuances and quirks, but what was what was it like bringing him to life and like actually putting a character to him, since it's just so different than what we saw in the show?
Yeah, I mean, what from the show was either made up by the characters in the show, Chrissy and Tony, or the public persona that Dickie projected when he was still alive, which we come to understand in the movie is not really what's going on inside of him. And the only people who are privy to what's going on, to the unraveling of this man is the audience, because he won't tell anyone else, even the people that he goes to, like when he goes to visit Ray in the prison, he goes there to confess, to unburden himself, and all he does is lie. And so it's really the excitement of the role is this kind of like private suffering that he's living with because of the legacy of violence that he's grown up in, as with an abusive father.
Mm-hmm. Leslie, your character is incredible, and I particularly loved the riot scene with, Gil Scott-Heron's "Your Soul and Mine" playing in the background. I thought that was so powerful, and I love that we can see an actual change in Harold take place in that one moment. So, how empowering was it for you to enter this Sopranos world as a new character, pushing against the grain to reflect changing tides that are relevant today?
I was empowered by David Chase's confidence in me, and Alan too. And I didn't have to, unlike our dear Michael, I didn't have to compare myself or be in relationship with any of the characters from the series, because this was someone from the ground up. So I thought a lot about my grandfather, and Harold's story kind of mirrored my grandfather's story, not the crime part, but the immigrating from the South, and the reasons why they decided to move their families. It mirrored. So the chance to kind of get some of my granddad up on the screen was too good to pass up.
Yeah, and before I let you guys go, I know that I was talking to Alan, and he's up for a movie with Harold going on in his life. Michael, also, you have like a sequel maybe there's coming out. Would you guys want to team up? Do you think you can see your characters either butting heads or being some sort of pact?
I would love that.
Someone did say to me recently, like, we know where Tony goes, but we don't know how he gets there. And maybe Johnny doesn't want him to be in the mob, and maybe Harold starts helping him out, giving him his first couple of jobs.
Interesting.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know.
Running numbers for Harold.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Leslie, Michael, and Alessandro, it's been so lovely talking to you through today about the movie. I really appreciate the time you've taken, and I cannot wait for fans to watch the movie. Congratulations on the movie. You're both amazing in it. Michela, let's start with you. I heard this was your first American movie, and I must say you are incredible in this. I wonder, though, your character plays someone new to the country, much like yourself. Did that foreigner aspect attract you to playing this role of initial innocence, leveling up to a bold, empowering consciousness?
Yeah, of course. I mean, David wanted me to put my experience in the characters. So, you know, it's been my first time out of Europe, my first time in America, my first foreign project. So, and also for Giuseppina, it's been the same. She came for the first time, so it helped me a lot, for sure.
Were you a fan of the series growing up, Michaela? Like, was that something that you really enjoyed watching, The Sopranos?
I knew about that. I've just heard about that, but I didn't see the series. I watched it when I got the role.
Ray, sir, it's an absolute honor to chat with you. I won't spoil it for fans, but you do play a crucial part in this movie, and I love how we get to see multi-layered sides of you, if I may. What was it like entering this Sopranos world and playing someone who essentially creates a turning point for both Dickie and even Tony?
Yeah, it's right. They don't want me to talk about it, but with the question so eloquent, it was great. It was fun, and it happened out of the blue. David just one day came up to me and said, "You want to do this?" I said, "Whoa, yeah." Well, let me take this on. This will be a fun little challenge.
There's been talk of a sequel already, so I have to ask: would you be up for it if David and Alan came calling?
Who's talking about that's going to be a series lately?
They're talking about it already. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
would you be up for it in either backflashes or whatever the way they kind of, you know, yeah, the way they pull it out?
White people still live. She's gonna not, you know, she's sleeping with the fish.
Well, Michaela, Ray, thank you so much again for the lovely chat, and congrats on the movie. I love this movie. It's amazing. I really think it's one of the year's best. So, wow, you know, kudos to you and the crew and the cast. I love how it plays so perfectly to the Sopranos world, but, you know, it has been 14 years since the show ended and since you last directed. And I'm just wondering, was it easy to slip back into the world of these iconic characters?
The only way it was easy was it was easy to step back into the language of the show and the tone of it. That combination of you know, really sort of dark insights about what it's like to be human, but also with absurd humor and bursts of violence that are bursts of ridiculousness. So that combination of tones that David created for the show, that felt easy to get back into, but in many other ways it was not at all easy. It was, you know, it was a challenge to try and find the spirit of the show when we take away two of the main things that define the show. Well, the fact that there was no James Gandolfini was really a big deal. The fact that the show was, you know, popular partly because it was contemporary, tacky New Jersey, and we're going back into period where it's a kind of more romantic time of the mob, and going from the small screen to the big screen. So, you know, in many ways we were changing radically the terms of it, but trying to keep that spirit of the Sopranos experience, you know, true.
Yeah, and I love how the film is also very welcoming in structure and writing, and, you know, it's good for new audiences with the characters that we can understand from the ground up. So I know there is talk of a sequel for Michael, who is flawless, by the way, and I'm sure that was a personal and important part for you to have him in the movie, but any possibility of also a spinoff for Leslie's Harold, because he was a phenomenal character. I loved his character.
I'm really glad you brought that up, because I mean, because of the way David writes, there are several story strands going through it. And one of the most important ones and one of the most challenging ones to get right was Harold's story, because, you know, he doesn't have as much screen time as Dickie, but his story has to hold its own against Dickie. And thank goodness we got Leslie Odom Jr. to play him, because he brings this intelligence and this gravitas and this charm. So you really, he's a fully formed person there that you really can follow. And he's got, you know, not to give anything away, but one of the big questions of the movie is, you know, is our destiny locked, or can we change who we are? Can we rewrite who we are? And he's the only character who maybe has a positive answer to that question. And it's, you know, because of the experiences in '67 with the riots and stuff, you see him sort of change over the course of the movie. Yeah, he should get his own spinoff. He should get that's a great idea.
Yeah. Well, again, the movie is amazing. I loved it so much, and I can't wait for audiences to see it. I think they're going to be so happy. So thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.